네, 오늘은 줄리터너 미국무부 북한인권 특사 모시고 이야기 나눠보도록 하겠습니다. Ambassador, welcome to Los Angeles.
Thank you.
Can you briefly introduce yourself to our audience?
Yes, my name is JULIETURNER, and I am the U.S. Special Envoy on North Korean human rights issues. It's nice to meet you.
So your position was filled after a 6-year vacancy, and can you elaborate the significance of your appointment as Korean American and how that aligns with Biden administration's North Korea policy?
Yes, I think that my appointment into this position is symbolic of the Biden administration's overall commitment to human rights and the promotion of human rights globally. My Korean American heritage is also speaks to the administration's commitment to diversity and inclusion. I think it's really meaningful and powerful to have broad representation, especially of Korean Americans in the administration.
So during the nomination hearing in U.S. Senate, you mentioned your personal background as Korean American adoptee. How has that shaped your career?
So I think being adopted has really instilled in me a great sense of pride and commitment to public service. I am deeply honored to be able to serve the country that took me in and gave me a home and gave me opportunity, and to serve in this capacity in particular on an issue that I have a heritage connection to, which adds an additional layer of meaning.
Was that something familiar growing up in your childhood?
So my adoptive family wanted me to be connected to my heritage, and so as a child they sent me to Hangul Hakyo so that I could learn about the Korean language and learn about Korean culture.
So you do speak a little Korean?
A little bit.
And you understand?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. That's great. So let's dive into the state of North Korea. As long as I know, the North Korean human rights issue in North Korea has gotten worse after the pandemic. Would you agree with that?
Yes, we agree. The human rights situation in North Korea was already one of the most egregious situations in the world, and the COVID-19 pandemic has allowed for it to get worse.
And could you describe the current status?
Yes, so it does appear that the North Korean government during COVID took the opportunity to further tighten restrictions on a population that was already suffering under great repression. During the COVID pandemic, they passed 3 new laws that further restrict citizens' access to outside information. In particular, over the last decade, more and more K-dramas and K-pop and even Western Hollywood movies have been getting into North Korea. But under this new law, you can face serious consequences for having watched some of these films or other illicit foreign content.
Even stricter, you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, I see. And recently, China has deported more than 500 North Korean defectors based in China. What actions have been taken by the U.S. Department of State on this matter?
Yes, we are deeply concerned by the reports that the PRC forcibly repatriated North Korean asylum seekers. We have worked with like-minded partners and allies to raise awareness of the plight of North Korean refugees, but we have also spoken directly to the Chinese government and called upon both the Chinese government as well as governments around the world where North Koreans may be present to abide by the principle of non-refoulement.
Was there any progress on that?
Not yet, but we will continue to press on the Chinese government and advocate on behalf of North Korean refugees.
I see. And in order to advance human rights in North Korea, what policy would you recommend to both President Biden and the South Korean government?
I think one of the great things right now is that we have such a strong alliance. U.S. and ROK cooperation has been at the strongest that it's ever been. And then recently we had the Camp David Summit, and so trilateral cooperation has also been expanding. I think in terms of how best to approach the North Korean human rights issue, we need to focus on multitasking, that we can address international peace and security issues in relation to North Korea at the same time that we're talking about human rights issues. And then on top of that, within the human rights realm, it's not a zero-sum game. We can also talk about accountability for those most responsible for the most egregious human rights abuses in North Korea, and also offer up opportunities for cooperation with the North Koreans to bring about concrete changes for the North Korean people.
Okay. And you have been very active on the issue of divided families. I saw many articles about it, and the Korean American community has yet to see any real progress. Can you explain about the current status of Korean American divided families?
Yes, so I have had the honor to meet with many of the individuals that were affected and separated during the Korean War from their loved ones. They have heartbreaking stories, and many of them are aging. And so time is short, and the time to act is now. So I've been spending much of my first few weeks in my position doing listening sessions with the community to better understanding what they want, what they're seeking right now, how the US government can best engage and support them, and also to get a better assessment of how many and where they're located and how they were divided from their family members, to better understand who the community is. That's part of the reason why I'm in LA this week, is to meet with divided family members. And I very much hope that we can help facilitate family reunification soon.
Is there an estimated number in your head right now?
That's part of what I hope to assess through some of these engagements, and we are looking into ways that the US government can get a better understanding of the community and how many families are affected.
And lastly, how would you like the Korean American to engage with you to advance the human rights in North Korea?
So I think Korean Americans play a critical role in this conversation because of the heritage connections that the community has to the Korean Peninsula. Many of them are affected by the divided families conversation, maybe 2 or 3 generations removed, but still there are linkages and ties. I really encourage people to learn more about the human rights situation in North Korea. I think we tend to hear about whatever is on the news about missiles being fired and lose some of the human aspect of what's happening in North Korea. And so I very much encourage the Korean American community to learn more about it and to find the right way for, as an individual, to engage with the issue. And that could be by doing international advocacy or writing a letter to the government, which I will read, and I commit to engage personally with those interactions, as well as to look for ways to help North Korean refugees. There are a number of North Korean refugees that have been resettled in the United States, and they need communities that are willing to help support them transitioning from an authoritarian regime like North Korea to a free and democratic society in the United States can be very difficult for anyone. And then add to that the layers of trauma that happen while they're trying to escape to a free and open democratic society. And so everyone can do something here to help. And at the end of the day, the goal is to help improve the well-being of the North Korean people.
Right. Okay, that was my question. Thank you for sharing your time with us today, Ambassador.
Thank you very much.
네, 지금까지 줄리터너 미국무부 북한인권 특사 모시고 이야기 나눠봤습니다.